Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome back to Nightmare Gaming. My name is Anthony, and we are here with this year's Halloween special, Belladonna. I'm really looking forward to this, so let's jump straight in.
Physical sensation. Pain? I'm alive? That's odd. I don't feel alive. What's going on? I have no memories of anything before this point in time. My mind is tabula rasa, yet I have a language. I seem to be in some laboratory of sorts. Maybe I can find out what happened if I look around.
Okay, so let's start looking for stuff. Bookshelf.
Books. A lot of natural philosophy and chemistry. Something by an M.W. Shelley.
Iron Maiden.
A torture device turned into a strange machine. What kind of place is this?
Stretcher.
My very first memory is waking up on this thing. Before that, nothing. I wonder what I am. Now's not the
switch.
time. There's a
Okay,
note
journal
here.
page.
Maybe it can shed some light on my situation.
Oh my god, this is a lot of reading. It is with shaking hands and heavy heartbeats I gather before me the instruments of my last desperate attempt. I find myself on the threshold of my toils, a turning point, for should I fail tonight, I doubt I will find the strength and resolve to continue. At my feet now lays the lifeless remains of my beautiful Belladonna. A few hours ago my wife was alive and well, and now she has been cut open, dissected, altered, and artificially reconstructed. From the second she gave up her final breath, I have worked tirelessly to preserve and prepare her corpus, that I might infuse a spark of being back into her lifeless limbs. This is the final test of all my research and experimentation. The past 5 years, the complete revivification of a human being, body and soul. The anxiety I feel is agonizing, but I cannot let it hinder me from carrying out what I must do. For my own sake, and for hers, the procedure must not fail. In my feverish dreams, my wife appears such a lovely creature, so far removed from this creation before me. Her cheeks, once so full of laughter, are now pale, almost to the point of transparency. With the skin stretched so thin over the cranium, it threatens to rip at any moment. Her eyes would shine like the night sky, but are now empty, watery, and yellowish. I have to cling to my conviction that she will regain her former grace and vitality once she is brought back to the realm of the living. Her eyes will light up with the flame of life, a Promethean flame stolen from the very gods. From this night on, man shall be the master of his own destiny, and God shall no longer be above us. As I ride, the engines of life are finally heating up. The last of the preparations coming into order. The crucial moment is ever approaching. The time has come. ... Success! The attempt was a success. She's alive. Okay.
There's a screwdriver in this
toolbox.
toolbox. Better take it.
Okay.
It's a brain in a jar. I wonder what it's thinking.
It is? It's probably not.
A human
Okay,
or a
skull.
paperweight.
Sorry guys, just gotta sort my... There we go. Mouse mat
It
out.
looks like the legs of a frog hooked up with wires. And I'm pretty sure it moves when I'm not watching.
Excuse me. Right, I saw magnet.
I love
Magnet.
magnets.
Bone saw is ready. tank?
have no idea what's inside of this, but it glows.
Okay. Skimming around for anything else. Gargoyle?
One ugly gargoyle. Looks like a George to me. The door won't budge.
Hi, George.
It seems to be barred from the other side. I might be able to unscrew these hinges, though.
Okay. Oh, what the... Oh, God. Okay, guys. 1 second. I'm just going to have to sort this out. So I will be right back. Okay, guys. And we're back. So, sorry about that. Shut up. Try that on the exit.
The screws on these hinges are rusty and stuck. I need some lubricant to loosen them up. With such a multitude of jars and bottles, at least one must have some sort of oil in it.
Okay. There it is.
This oil looks expensive. Let's waste it.
Sure.
I thought that would work. I smeared some oil on the rusty screws. That should loosen them up.
Good for you, my dear.
I'm free.
Right. Suit of armor.
A dedicated knight to guard a damp dungeon like this. Maybe he was demoted. Maybe he likes the dark. Maybe he's secretly a poet. I bet his name is Roland.
Okay, Roland. Right, journal page.
This was written long before the last one.
Work is going great. Kept a rat alive for 1 hour and 26 minutes last night. We'll move on to larger animals within the week. I find my life more and more polarised into two phases. I remember times when I used to climb up and down the stairs like a squirrel each day, but now I spend most of my time, and indeed most of my thoughts, down here in the laboratory, only to step upstairs at night to sleep. It's warmer upstairs in the living area, but it's boring and understimulating. Down here is where I make progress. Down here is what matters, and as I lay awake beside my sleeping wife, I often wish I was down here with my experiments. Belladonna grows increasingly distant. Ever since that fateful night when our baby Lucas gave up his last breath, she has lost all traces of her old self. God knows what she is thinking about, as she silently gazes into the empty air or restlessly paces back and forth in the great hall. I, at least, am working with my grief. I have turned my attention to the science of life and death, and not a day goes by when I do not think of how my son was untimely taken from me. This is the thought that drives me in this, the greatest of my ambitions. My son will never return, I have accepted that now, but thanks to me and my work, the cold, ruthless contrast between living and dead will in the future be much softer, maybe even completely erased. My wife, though, has let our grief devour her whole. It is emotionally and intellectually paralysing to me, it seems to me. She is emotionally and intellectually paralysed, it seems to me. Sorry about that fuck up. All her creativity and quirkiness of thought, the witnesses of her speech, and the nimble way she used to jump from one conclusion to the next. All those qualities that made me fall in love with her in the first place. They have all been snuffed out like the flame of a candle. This makes me wonder why, even more, why I bother to go up to her bed every night. The shell in which she has enclosed herself cannot be breached by anything I say and do. It's almost as though she is involved with someone other than me. I feel ridiculous even writing it down. No, it seems ludicrous to think that Belladonna's disinterest in me is due to her seeing another man. I will not accuse her of that. It is just one of many strange ideas that seems to have appear in my head when I am down here by myself. I am probably just tired. I'd better try and get some sleep as soon as this rat's heart stops beating. Okay then.
It looks
bed.
like someone has been sleeping quite a lot in this sorry excuse for a bed, and it was hardly the suit of armor. But why would someone choose to sleep down here?
Well, he's kind of answered that question already. He was intellectually lacking stimuli.
More writings from the lonely doctor.
Doctor writes a fucking lot, guys. Curse my miserable existence, this hopelessness from which I see no conceivable escape. I cannot rid myself of the feeling that there is something of utmost importance that I need to take care of, but that it is not yet time. That something beyond my control needs to be completed first. I carry inside me a sensation of waiting, yet I cannot name the thing I am waiting for. In the meantime, all I can do is work. I do make progress, but at an excruciatingly slow rate, and nothing I accomplish seems to calm the anxiety in my head. I sleep only a few hours every night and cannot remember my last hot meal. I am feverish and jump at the smallest of sounds. What am I missing? I'm spending more and more time down here with my research. I only occasionally go upstairs to sleep in the master bedroom. Most nights I sleep, if at all, in my makeshift bunk I have constructed in the cellar. It is not as uncomfortable, but my research is at a point where it often requires my constant attention, and comfort is not my priority. I am certain I'm advancing ever closer to a significant breakthrough, but it is as though I am powerless to control or even affect the rate of its occurrence. And on top of this, I cannot rid my mind of the idea that Belladonna has forgotten me and taken a new lover. A new man in her life, someone more lively than me perhaps, someone who can still look at life with joy and optimism to match her own by grave tragedy, I can English, unaffected humour. Yet who would that be? I can remember friends we used to have. In my memory, our wedding was a crowded and festive event, but it has been years since this castle has seen any visitors. I have no time for social obligations, and Belladonna seems to have given up on everything that is pleasant in life. I suspect the castle is in an undesirable state as well. Almost all of the staff have left us. We're down to one girl who dusts the cupboards and lights the fireplaces, but I do not see much of her either these days. For all I know, she might be gone as well. There cannot possibly be a man in Belladonna's life apart from me.
Another locked door. Let's take a peek through. It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my hands. I wonder what I can invent to retrieve it.
Well, we have a magnet.
But how will I get the magnet out there and then back again? I need longer arms. I wonder if I can get a refund on this stitched together body of mine.
Can we combine... No. Okay, back. So I need something to put the magnet on. Ah, I see a stick.
There's a long stick here. Perhaps it was used to try to chase away rats when trying to sleep. Look, I can attach the magnet to the end of this stick.
Winner! I'm good at this shit, mate. Oh, I'm not. I'm fucking awful, guys. Oh, dear.
Another locked door.
Yes, I know.
Let's hope
we
this
use the
works.
magnet on a stick.
Haha. Just as planned.
Awesome.
I got the basement key.
And there we go.
A couple of
Cogwheels,
on
I'll
the
take
floor.
those.
They must have fallen off the mechanism when the door slammed shut. I wonder if I can put them back.
Shouldn't be that hard. That one goes there.
Not yet.
That one goes there. That one goes there. And that one goes there.
More levels.
And another journal page.
Has he figured it out yet?
I now see that my suspicions have been well grounded, albeit aimed in the wrong direction. Belladonna is not seeing another man, she is seeing a woman. I am convinced that it must be the maid, Claire, or whatever her name is. She and Belladonna are up to something, I am sure of it. And to think all the hours I'm stuck down here, caught up in my dreadful work, leaving them free to roam and left to their own devices upstairs. Of course they have found each other, only living things in this whole castle besides me and my week-long rabbits. They have figured it all out. When I come up at night, they act all innocent, keeping their mutual secret from me as a playful game. But as soon as I descend into the laboratory, they are in each other's arms again. But what can I do? The progression of events are beyond my control, just like my work. I slave away in my ghoulish endeavour, making progress every hour but never getting anywhere, and simultaneously Belladonna is slipping away from me, further and further every night, and yet nothing ever changes. Should I confront them storming up there, hoping to catch the two in the act, take back the life that was mine and the wife that was mine? No. I have no reason for my silly suspicions, no evidence whatsoever, merely a thought stuck in my brain refusing to leave, so I remain passive as always, and each new day is one more where I am unable to make an action, unable to change my wretched situation. So we'll turn the valve and leave. Alright, what we got? Pestle and mortar.
It's a mortar. And a pestle too. They seem to belong here, but I'll remember where they are in case I need them another time.
Okay, so I need to remember that.
It looks like there used to be 2 of them.
Okay, there's a journal page there. Urn? I'm going to look at everything before I read the 2 pages, guys.
This must be the ashes of Wolfram's son. A beautiful china bowl. It looks hand-painted. It's warm. I haven't realized until now just how cold my body is. The label says Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss. So this is the man who brings the dead back to life. He looks as though he would have been handsome once.
Right, I'll start with this journal page over here.
The doctor is losing it. He's just scribbling down nonsense by now. What will he do if he ever acts on his wild suspicions?
It is clear to me what I must do. I am now convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that my wife is unfaithful. They still hide it very well, her and that housemaid, but my logical mind tells me there is no other explanation. For countless hours I have pondered the situation, and the more I think about it, the more certain I become that my judgment is correct. These countless hours are hours I could have spent thinking about my work. It is clear to me that I will never be able to fully concentrate on the puzzles at hand as long as my thoughts keep creeping back to my wife and her new lover. This is the very reason that my research is progressing at such an agonizingly slow pace. So it is clear to me what I must do. Belladonna herself is the person who I want back in my life, so I cannot punish her. That leaves her lover, the young maid. She is unimportant, and it is she that must go. I could fire her and throw her out the household, but I fear that would not resolve anything. The 2 of them still know each other, and they could write in secret forbidden love letters and meet up in secluded rendezvous. No, it is clear to me what I must do. I must get rid of the maid for good. A plan is already taking form in my head. In the greenhouse out back, I keep a lot of plants and herbs. One specimen I have called Deadly Nightshade. An interesting plant with many medical uses, but its renown comes from the fact that its extract is lethal almost already at small doses. My God, this guy writes a lot. Preparing a powder from this poisonous plant is not at all problematic. And Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Preparing the victim to ingest the dose will be a challenge, but I expect to have ample opportunity. They are not aware I know the truth and thus suspect nothing. The maid will fall ill, and within a short time she will die of seemingly natural causes. No one will be the wiser concerning the true circumstances of her demise. Deadly Nightshade is merely the common name for this plant. Its scientific name is Atropa belladonna. The symmetry strikes me as beautiful. The poor girl strayed too close to the belladonna, and that would be the death of her. Right, next journal page, and
so
another
sad.
20 minutes of reading.
I don't even know if I want to read this one.
My wife took the wayward maid's death harder than I had expected, further confirming my suspicions that they were indeed having a secret love affair. She is passionate and irrational, raging all day and crying all night. Where a few months ago the cold shroud of silence lay over our house, now there is the wailing shrieks of bedlam. One should think that she would be used to dealing with the grief of lost loved ones by now. However, in all sincerity, I do not believe she was ever as affected by the death of our son as I was. I also suspect she might have guessed I had something to do with her lover's demise. If she wouldn't talk to me before now she yells and barks at my every moment. I hardly leave my laboratory these days. I even have a small bed down there where I sleep the few hours when I'm not working. All the while she prowls around upstairs like a hungry tiger and attacks me over futile nitpicks as soon as I poke my head out. What happened to the love we shared when we married? We were going to live together in her inherited castle. We were going to have children together. Now all I get is abuse and a cold bed in the basement. All I want is for the game to not work, apparently. There we go. All I want is for things back the way they were before all this. Right.
A dead body.
And they say that's the doctor.
It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss. He's dead. And what's more, he's been murdered. But who could have done this? There must be some...
Belladonna! Alright.
The missing candlestick.
Candlestick?
And it seems to be the murder weapon. The body is still warm. He cannot have been dead for much longer than I have been alive. Did he have to die for me to live?
Possibly.
There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? Or a clue left by the killer.
Over the course of a sleepless night, I have thought through my next course of action from every possible angle, for it is indeed time for me to take action again. Even with the troublesome maid out of the way, I see little chance of getting my old Belladonna back. If anything, she is worse now than ever before. But I have an idea, one that kept me awake all night. I have come very far in my research by now and can fairly predictably create living creatures that are stable enough to not spontaneously die again. This is consistent through many different species of animal. I have noticed something peculiar. Though the return creations seem vacant and sluggish, it is as though the body is brought back to life, the soul is lost forever. The creation is perfectly functional and responds to stimuli just as if it were truly alive. But the mysterious spark of will seems to be missing. I know no other way to describe the phenomenon. This bothered me before now. I cannot help but think this might suit my... This bothered me before, but now I cannot help to think that this might suit my needs. Isn't it precisely the strong will of my wife that is causing all my problems? There is no need to be poetic with flowers this time. I'm in no short supply of lethal substances in my laboratory, and poison suits my needs well, as it leaves no physical trauma on the body. I will still need to make incisions in the corpse to replace internal organs with clockwork parts, but stitching together the surgical cuts is much simpler than trying to repair unhealed bodily damage. The integrity of her visage is a priority. To extinguish Belladonna's current life and give her new one, to bring her body and mind back, minus soul and free will. A beautiful, obedient automaton, a mechanical doll with all the functionality of a woman, but who is responsive and does what she is told. That, my dear future reader, would truly be amazing. I think it's time I tried my revivification process on a human subject. Okay. Now, I did notice something else on the body.
It's a small, delicate key. He kept it in the pocket closest to his heart. I wonder what it unlocks.
Your chastity belt, love. Right, grandfather clock. I see the note. I'll get there.
It's an old clock. Tick tock, tick tock.
Wait.
Those are a lot of gargoyles. Leupold, Brunhilde,
Oh.
Arthur, Maya, Lena, Ismildor, Ether, and Yosef. In that order.
Okay, to the living room and to the study. We'll go
This
there in
letter
a
is signed
minute.
Belladonna.
Before we go to the back
I've been
door.
waiting to hear the
Before
other
we go
side
out
of
the
this
back door.
story.
Oh my, I can barely read this. If you had asked me just a few years ago about my future, I could never have fathomed my life today as it is. So strange a path has the twists of fate set upon me, that I awake every morning bewildered, and like a small child I expect anything and everything to happen each new day. The night my planned future snapped out of joint and took a whole new direction was the night my son Lucas died. I married Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss in the spring, and we loved each other deeply back then. How young we were. He was an educational gentleman from the University of Ingolstadt, and I had first assumed we would get a flat in Vienna. Instead, he convinced me that we should live in my family's old castle and accept our role as old-fashioned nobility in the little village down the hill. We moved into the castle with the staff of 30 servants, beginning the task of breathing life and joy into the majestic halls. At this time I expected to live out my life as the lady of the household, minding the servants and indeed raising children. Before long our first son was born, and shortly after that he once again departed. I was devastated, of course, but Lucas had been sickly from his first day, and even though my husband had blocked out the possibility from his mind, I was not entirely surprised when it happened. Nonetheless, it changed us. I believe Wolfram blames me for what happened, and he thinks was somehow my fault. He retreated into his laboratory in the old dungeon and started doing unholy experiments and God knows what. Those were dark times. Instead of a household and a child to take care of, I now had no guest, practically no husband, and no child. Everything I thought would occupy my time was gone, and all I could do was grieve in solitude. The castle staff left one by one until there were only a handful still here. My existence was meaningless, and I spent most of my days doing nothing. I deal with my grief in my own way, and in time the claws of melancholy began loosening their grip on me. In so many ways, I have Clara to thank for that. Right, to the living room first, I guess.
This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of only one maid, no matter how fantastic she is. This room looks completely abandoned.
I guess that's all sheeted furniture.
It's snowing outside.
Window?
I have no concept of the current year, season, or even geographical location.
Okay, I see the journal page, so
Another
let's
journal
start with
page.
that.
This one has drops of blood on it.
I, Belladonna, must think. Remember, hands, fingers, right, words, hate. Damn, bitch! It's getting dark in this room, guys. I think it might be. Okay, bear with me one little second. There we go. That's probably a lot better for you guys. Right, Raven.
Of Palace Athena. What a cheerful decoration. Let's call them Annabelle and Dupin. That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless we acknowledge a maximum length of a word, there would still be an infinite number of combinations, and the library would have to be infinitely large.
Sure.
Look, a perfect sphere. Let's see if I can get two parallel lines to intersect.
No, let's not say we did.
I should sit down and write a story. But with all these journals and diary pages lying around, seems like I already may have. Look at all these old
toy
toys.
collection.
Wind-up
I'll get the
dolls,
journal
music
later.
Boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this used to be a private hobby of the eccentric Dr. Wolfram's, before he got into the whole corpse business. Another portrait. It says her name is Franziska Canosa, an old relative, no doubt. But I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family.
Ladder?
I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed.
Right, okay, so we have to get rid of the cat.
The
Not gonna
doctor's
like this, am I?
handwriting. I know it well by now.
Months have passed, and I must indeed conclude that the procedure was a success. The new Belladonna is certainly calmer, friendlier, and more docile. She gladly keeps me company in my laboratory nowadays, and she is polite and pleasant in everything she does. One is tempted to describe her demeanour as lobotomized, but no. When I ask her a question, she will answer in a clear, articulate voice, and she is responsive to all kinds of stimuli. Verily, I have gotten all I could ask for. That troublesome maid is gone, and Belladonna is back with me, compliant as ever. Her behaviour is exemplary. Our lives are returning to that idyllic past I thought I had lost. In all aspects except one, no child giggles in these halls, but my research is proceeding rapidly, and the question presents itself: who needs a womb to create life? I have made unexpected observations, a side effect of the unliving condition. The household cat, a black beast, once Belladonna's loving pet, has gained a great mistrust for the latter's new form. A disgust has fallen over the animal, and it will not go near the creation. Why is this, I wonder? Why the lack of trust, this sudden ferocious hatred? Belladonna's appearance seems to me not much unlike what the cat before so fondly gravitated towards, but evidently the beast perceives a difference. As a species, the cat has popularly been associated with witchcraft and mysticism. Their eyes do indeed strike one as remarkable. Is it perchance so that the feline oculus is capable of peering into a human's soul and spirit, and so when faced with the creator Belladonna, it is distressed by a lack thereof? Possibly? Right, let's go to the backyard then.
There's a bottle of milk out here. I wonder how long it's been here. At any rate, it's frozen completely solid. No wonder in this cold.
Okay, I've got the milk. I'll do this journal page now
because
because
about this Clara figure.
I've got a way to go. Clara Steiber was one of the several chambermaids we hired when we moved into the castle, shortly after the marriage. In the warm light of recent events, I feel as though I could pick her out of a crowd already at this time, but I suspect that the truth is that she was just another servant, one of many, and I didn't pay her close to the attention I know she deserves. The time following the death of Lucas is hazy and unclear in my memory. I know I spent most of my time in an armchair in the living room, staring out of the window. I now know that this must have been a difficult time for the staff as well. My apathy left them without purpose, as more and more of the household was shut down. Soon the cooks and stable grooms began abandoning what they wisely identified as a sinking ship. As more and more of the staff left the castle to seek employment elsewhere, there was less and less reason for the rest to stay, and the household was quickly decimated. But through all of this, young Clara never left my side. She gradually shouldered more and more of the household responsibilities, making it her task to take care of me and nurse me through my melancholy. It was her loyal and industriousness when everyone else left that she finally brought me back from my condition, and indeed, her love. As I now sit down and write, it has been a long and broken chain of happy days. Clara and I have the whole castle practically to ourselves and nothing to do but enjoy our lives and each other. We sleep in a new room every night, cook our own food, and have picnics under the tables or in front of the fireplace. We have no incentive whatsoever to uphold convention and norms when this house has become like a secret pocket inside the rest of reality. In truth, this touches on what I treasure most in Clara. Neither of us reap any concrete benefits from our union, neither financial nor societal. There is no embedded purpose of producing heirs. Our relationship exists solely for itself, and it is its own reward. I'm already adopting her adorable habit of naming inanimate objects. The castle is not quite ours, however. Wolfram still lurks like a ghoul downstairs and occasionally emerges and spends a night up here with me. We have little in common anymore. In fact, he is like a completely new person. His mind is vacant. His stares distant. He's thinner than ever before and shivers with cold. Clara jokingly suggested that we might have him declared mad and sent off to an institution. An innocent idea in her mind, but with some planning this act might eventually prove our securest path to finally reclaiming this old castle for us alone. Okay, small grave. An empty grave.
This must be the family cemetery. Yet, baby Lucas rests in an urn in the dining room. Why is that? It says Snowflake
Small grave.
Cat. How cute. The stone is so old and the name is worn off. The tombstone says Clara Stieber. This must be the grave of the wonderful maid I've heard so much about. I can't help but notice that it's been emptied. A note.
Right, we'll deal with this journal page. Great God, why did I not then expire? Why am I here to relate the destruction of the best hope and the purest creature on earth? It was mere days ago, at the peak of our bliss, when Clara fell ill. She complained of headaches and tiredness, so I made a bed for her and laid her down to rest. For the next few days I cared for my companion just as she had cared for me, and nursed her with all my love and compassion. We believed it was just a passing sickness, and that it would be over shortly. Each morning we thought she was getting better. Each evening we realised she'd actually gotten worse. And today I entered her bedroom. She was there, lifeless and inanimate, thrown across her bed, head hanging down, her pale, distorted features half covered by her hair. In horror, I beheld the body of Clara, my love, so lately living, so dear, so worthy. I rushed towards her and embraced her with ardor, but the deathly languor and coldness of her limbs told me that what I now held in my arms had ceased to be the Clara whom I had once loved and cherished. Alas, what foul curse lies in my gentle touch! I have lost my only child to the darkness, my husband to devouring madness, and now my lover has departed this world as well. Is my love truly as poisonous as my ominous name? To the greenhouse. And there's something else down there. Okay. Lantern?
This lantern might prove to be the very first thing that actually manages to shed some light on my situation. I'll keep it. Nothing inside.
Okay, basket.
A plant, a natural object, standing in a pot, a man-made object. The plant can consume nutrition and grow bigger, and the pot can't. Neither of them can think. So what about me then? I can think, I know that. But am I natural or man-made?
Bit of both?
More letters. Can someone tell me what happened to poor Clara?
My bad. Some time has passed since the demise of Clara. As I calm down and regain control over my emotions, it occurs to me that there are some mysterious circumstances concerning her death, like me punching the microphone. The sickness that came over her was swift and sudden indeed. Admittedly, my own medical knowledge is limited, but it seems to me that such an instant and terminal change in the body's humours should not occur naturally. Could it be that she somehow ingested something that made her sick? But what? And from that line of thought, it is not a far leap to ponder if she was murdered. It was long ago that I lost track of the details of my husband's deranged research, but I do know he handles lethal substances and obscure chemicals. How easily it would have been for him to slip something into Clara's food. So then why would he do such a thing? Did he know of our affair? We were very careful. But perchance he guessed despite our efforts. He would not go as far as to murder based solely on guesses, would he? The distressing truth is I no longer have any way of telling what Wolfram is capable of. It is of vital importance that these notes never reach the eyes of my son. Of my own. Any eyes but my own. Oh my god. Good morning. These are grave accusations I'm scribbling down, and in ways of proof I do not even have anywhere to start looking, and yet the possibility is there, gloating in its simplicity. Now, 5 notes left to find.
Yes, those are indeed
okay, boxes.
Belladonna. This little plant has caused a lot of trouble. For a flower, it's not particularly beautiful, but for a murder weapon, it sure is.
And another note.
A journal page was hiding behind the plant.
Did Wolfram murder poor Clara, or did he not? My situation has reached a point where it hardly makes any difference. I still cannot prove anything, but my conviction of his sin is only growing stronger. I cannot look at his face without seeing a murderer, nor not listen to his voice without hearing the words of an evil man. And the coward knows it. He sees the judgment in my eyes and shrinks away from it like the rodent he is. Guilty or not, he could not act more like a culprit if he so confessed his crime in the town square. If he was hiding in his laboratory now he practically lives there. We both realize that he lacks the courage to meet my gaze, and after that he simply stopped coming back upstairs. The villain! The fiend! He can rot away in his dungeon, forgotten by the world, his remaining days spent in darkness and solitude. I will not forgive him. How could I, when he has provided me with nothing but misery since the day we met? The living areas of this castle are mine now, and if my husband is incapable of even confronting me, he shall know no benefit from them. Curse my miserable existence. 4 left to go. Right. So let's go back to the house. Let's check these first.
Angels. It seems a bit paradoxical to create statues depicting something that's supposed to be immaterial. Let's call them Justifer and Phi. What a marvelous mausoleum. The plaque says Francisca Canosa. This must be the resting place of the lady from the portrait in the study.
Right, let's go back into the house. Because I get a feeling I know what we've got to do. We've got to grind up the deadly nightshade, thaw the milk, put them in the bowl, give it to the cat, and then we're going to move on. Yes, I don't care. I know, you told me. So let's go to the dinner room. To the dinner room? Belladonna? Thank you. Not Belladonna, you're Clara. I get the feeling you're Clara. So put the frozen milk in the fireplace.
I'll let it stand by the fire for a while. It's thawed. The milk is now in liquid form.
Good. Alright, let's put that in there.
Into powder.
And we'll go milk
easily.
In the bowl.
Is this how Clara died?
Now, can we put that candlestick
I need
back?
Something else.
Well, okay. Yeah, poison milk. Yeah, poison milk bowl. Right, to the study. Kill the cat. I'm sorry, I don't want to kill the little kitty. Little kitty. But I have to. Or I cannot progress in the game.
Yes, this should put an end to the grim reign of this beast. Look,
right, mysterious item.
Key, and it has a funny tassel attached to it. No wonder the cat wanted to play with it. The animal must have managed to steal a key somehow.
Tassel key. Right, let's check this ladder.
Poison the cat. That was a lot of work to inspect this rather uninteresting ladder. This is strange.
I hate you.
This is Belladonna's signature, but the handwriting is just wrong.
Oh god. I write to exercise my brain. I find that my thoughts become more firm and solid if I force myself to put them down on paper. It doesn't matter what I write as long as I can think again. And to remember, I must try and remember. I have no idea how long I have been this way. A walking corpse. A mimicry of human life. An unmensch. This is all the doing of my despicable husband. He could not be happier, the villain. He got what he wanted, an obedient wife, a beautiful Galatea. that exists solely for his pleasure, if only he knew. These notes are the centre of my universe, and I keep them well hidden. He doesn't know. He has no idea. The thought has not occurred to him that I might be thinking again, and I intend to keep it that way. I am slowly and secretly, meticulously pulling my consciousness out of a black void. At first I truly was a mechanical toy, responsive but never proactive. But gradually I began to regain capacity for thought, and quickly realised that I needed to keep it a secret. These thoughts were now the only thing in this world that truly belonged to me. Beginning to think again was horrible. In many ways even worse than the state of blissful ignorance which I had emerged. I only managed to scribble down single disconnected words at a time, more emotions than thoughts, impulses perhaps. My hands and fingers were stiff and clumsy. I remember cutting myself on the sharp pen once and not being able to prevent the blood flow. I thought it would be the end for me, but surely Wolfram would notice the blood on my hands and get suspicious. But no, the self-absorbed fool merely stitched me up and let me go. I sometimes play with the idea of what I would have to do to prove to him that I'm a person, but I won't. The monster has other plans. 3 notes to go.
The door is locked. That makes no sense.
Okay, do I need... Literally nothing else in here. As my conscience grows stronger, so does my hatred for my husband. Each morning he brings me with him down to the laboratory and places me in a corner. There I will stand for the rest of the day, still as a statue, silent as death. Occasionally he will throw me a glance or a smile. I find my body smiling warmly back, almost like a reflex, and this indoctrination disgusts me. I am a living decoration, a breathing statue of flesh, his wind-up toy bride. But little does he suspect my eyes are darting across the room secretly and attentively following his smallest movements. I carefully memorise every step he takes, every note he writes down, every tiny detail of his ghoulish discovery. If only he knew how fast I am learning, what a willing student I am. As of late, he even picked up the habit of explaining his scientific work out loud. It helps him think, I suppose, and I nod and smile, give encouraging laughs at all the right places. His muttering his darkest secrets to me, and I drink it all up. And oh, if only he knew how close he brushes with his own demise. Hundreds of times each day he is close enough for my hands to reach out and snap his neck. My strong fingers around his throat, slowly squeezing the precious life out of him. But no matter how close he stands, my arms will not move. I am a prisoner in my own corpse, staring out through glassy eyes, unable to will any action into my own dead limbs. Call for me and I will walk. Ask me questions and I will talk, but my rotting brain is unable to form initiatives of its own. I am a golem following orders. Yet with each passing night, my willpower grows stronger. I write my thoughts down diligently and practice my mental capacities with all the resolve I have. The results are slow but reliable. One day soon I will have the tenacity to strike. As soon as the time comes, strike I will! One of these days his lovely life-size doll will suddenly find the power within her to execute her swift revenge. Proceed to the next room.
That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there. Actually, I better not open it and check. Let's take a look inside. That makes
tiny
no
keyhole.
sense.
I have a tiny... Yes, I'm aware of that.
If this key fits. There's a key hidden inside.
Big.
A very important one. The mirror is completely
broken
shattered.
Mirror.
I think someone in here didn't really like their reflection.
Belladonna? Journal page first. Failure. The attempt was a failure. I could not lure my lost lover back into her deceased corpse. All my preparations in vain. All alone now. No one to turn my key. Assume Those eyes are cool.
Clara, it really is you. I was so certain I'd never see you again. You didn't wake up.
I woke up. I've been wandering lost ever since, trying to find out what's going on.
How are you feeling? Do you remember me?
I have no memories of you, or of myself. But I found some notes lying around. I can only assume you're the one called Belladonna?
I am Belladonna, murdered and reanimated by Dr. von Trauerschloss. At first a mindless mechanical doll, but I slowly regained control over my brain. And when the time was right, I broke free.
I saw the doctor's body.
Yes, I crushed his skull. Standing over his blood-soaked remains, I was free at last.
But where did I come from? If he was dead, was it you who brought me back?
Yes, my love. You were the only thing on my mind as I stood there, alone and victorious. I had secretly watched the doctor's process, and I desperately wanted to believe that I could get you back. I unearthed your grave and carried your dead body down to the laboratory. I did everything right, to the smallest detail, but you didn't wake up. And my time was running out. I can't turn my own key, and now that I was alone in the castle, I knew my life force would run out quickly. But for all my effort, you remained dead, and with no one to keep me vital, I eventually sat down here and just stopped.
But I did wake up.
Yes, apparently you did. Your body had been in the ground for quite some time. Perhaps that made the reanimation process slower, but with your key powering your brain directly, you did not have to go through the drawn-out, sluggish wake-up. I take it your cognitive powers and language have been with you from the start.
Well, yes.
Excellent. Then I have even improved on the doctor's method, but I doubt independent thinking and free will was ever in his interest to reproduce.
Do you think you could do it again?
Create more of us, you mean? Yes, I hold the secret of life and death, and I plan to use it. The experimentations must continue.
And the two of us will have no place in this world.
Quite right. So, we'll make us a place. Dead bodies will never be in short supply. We'll make more of our kind, a whole new race of the damned.
Where do we start?
I know for a fact that there's a fresh body lying out there in the Great Hall.
The doctor.
His flesh, at least. We won't be using his wretched brain. I've already destroyed it in any case. But the body will do. We will have to find a few other ingredients. Will you help me?
Of course I will.
Thank you, my love. I'll carry the body down to the laboratory and start with the preparations, and in the meantime you can help me with a few other things. The doctor's brain is completely destroyed. I made sure of that. I don't think any of us want his villainous brain back amongst us. We're going to need to find a new one. Secondly, we will also need some clock.
There's a brain in the laboratory.
We have to manufacture a
Grandfather clock in the hallway.
Thirdly, not only the brain, but also the head and the cranium were damaged. If we can find
There's a skull in the laboratory as well.
The reconstructing effort.
Some things have been puzzling me. Did I used to have hair?
You had beautiful hair. Unfortunately, I had to shave it all off in order to operate on your head and open your cranium.
Will it grow back?
I don't rightly know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
Yet, you're not bald.
I was revivified directly after my death, when my body was still fresh. You, my dear, had been in the ground for quite some time. I had to reconstruct large parts of your decomposed corpse.
That explains the metal construction holding together my skull.
I have my fair share of screws and bolts myself, but they are carefully hidden. I opted to sacrifice your pretty hair so that I could work more on preserving your brain. Something the good doctor did not do for me.
I want to ask something else.
I'm here for you.
What is
Okay,
this
I'm gonna
on
go
your brain?
through all these.
I'm so sorry about that. I covered you in scraps and bandages I found in the laboratory. I had to cut open and discard most of what you were buried in order to stitch you up. I want you to know that my plan was to be right next to you when you woke up, to help you understand and to find a proper dress. I'm so sorry it didn't come to pass like that.
On my way in here, I killed a cat. It was in my way and it felt so natural to just dispose of it. It worries me a bit.
How so?
I may have a functional brain, but what about a soul? Shouldn't there be something in me stopping me from hurting others? Or at least making me feel bad about it?
You're right. It did come very natural for me to murder my husband. But I'm not too worried about this. I have no desire to commit unnecessary killings, and I do have control over my actions.
What if you're raising an army of cold-hearted mass murderers?
They won't be mass murderers any more than you and I. And besides, why should we prioritize the lives of the living above the lives of the dead? I'm here.
Why did you put this wind-up mechanism in my head? Yours is in your back.
Yes, the damned doctor had placed my wind-up mechanism in my back. It goes straight into my chest and heart, giving me a strong central of power. But it is placed outside my own reach.
So, you can't turn it yourself?
No, I can't. I have to depend on others. That's why I chose to put the key in the back of your head, well within reach of your own hands. I know what it means to not be in control of your own existence, and I will never put someone else in the situation I am in.
Thank you.
Of course.
I want to ask something else.
I'm here for you.
Okay, so that's those
I saw green preserved in
ones.
alcohol down in the laboratory.
Oh, you did? That's good. That, my dear, is the brain of baby Lucas.
Your son?
Lucas was never buried. The doctor had the body cremated very quickly and thus incinerated all the evidence that the corpse was not complete. He had stolen the brain and kept it for himself. I don't know what he claimed about not planning on resurrecting his child, but the truth is that he kept the brain all the same.
And now you want your child back?
No, my dear. It's just a brain. I wanted you back, so I took great care to preserve your personality. But this brain is young and has been dead for very long. I suppose the creation will be my child, in a way, but not my son Lucas.
Clockwork?
Okay.
Yes, we need something to supply the body with the force to move. We can't make the heart beat again, so we use the spring-loaded clockwork. In the future, we'll have to think of a source of parts more reliable than salvaging old-time pieces, but that'll do for now.
I see.
Thank you.
Will we need to find a fresh human head?
Yes, I've smashed up the head of Wolfram rather frivolously. I'm afraid it's beyond rescue. I was thinking of my grandmother, Francesca Canosa. I'm sure you've seen her portrait in the study. She was buried some time ago,
that's who
but
it
her
was.
cranium should be sufficiently preserved. She rests in the mausoleum in the cemetery outside, but there is a hidden way into the tomb behind the armor in the basement.
Your grandmother. Will it not cause problems to attach a woman's head to a man's body?
No, I don't see how it would make any difference in this new race of ours. We do not even reproduce sexually, so not even that significance is relevant.
What do you mean we don't reproduce sexually? How do you know?
I spent quite some time with Wolfram dead and mindless, you know. I can safely say that, though we do experience all the physical sensations of intercourse, we cannot become pregnant or bear children.
I see. I'll go
Okay.
take a look behind the suit of armor.
Thank you.
I'll start looking for the objects then.
Thank you. Come talk to me if there's something you're unsure about.
Right then.
That's a big
So-
wardrobe. Bet you could.
Let's go to the clock first. Why is that show? I want to see that stuff. I'm sorry! Still feel bad about the cat. Alright, grandfather clock. I wish you could, like, hold shift and she'd move quicker.
I see a lot of mechanical parts in there. I need...
So she needs to... No. So we're going to use
This
that.
screwdriver will do the trick. Time to turn this old clock into a slightly peculiar wardrobe.
Alright, so we've got the clockwork. Alright, let's go back to the dinner room now then. Why the dinner room? Surely it's the dining room. Oh, I have no idea. Right. To the basement. To the basement. Down we go.
Belladonna was right. There is a secret switch behind Roland the Poet. It's too dark down there. I won't see my hands in front of me unless I light the crypt up first. Interesting.
In which case?
I can't just drop the lantern into the hole. It's gonna break when I...
Oh. Beds? No. Damn, so I need like a rope or something.
The body of a deranged murderer, the decomposed head of an old lady, the brain of a small child. How could this possibly go
Wrong?
I can't just drop the lantern into the hole.
Okay. On the Okay, so I've got to... I gotta find something to put it on. Something to put it on. Is there anything more in the body that I can use?
Don't you...
Nope. Let's try the living room first, because that was only one room.
This room looks completely abandoned.
Sheeted furniture. Nope.
Thaw the milk, grind...
The hell? Oi! Oh, wait. I see you. Kinky. Right.
I'll just tie this...
Nearly missed that rope. That would have been embarrassing. Swear to Christ, guys, I thought I saw something run across the fucking floor then. I think it was just a bag fell out the bin. Come on, Clara. Nearly called you Belladonna then.
Yes, I can lower the lantern into the hole. Amazing.
Right, now we can go in here.
I must be directly underneath the mausoleum and the cemetery.
Journal page, the last one, I guess.
It's another letter. How did it end up down here?
So this is written by her. After insisting probing from my Lady Belladonna, I too take to the pen come evening. The scribbling doesn't come as readily for me as it does for her, yet I do certainly see the appeal in the activity. So much has happened in my life as of late. My brain is overflowing with joy and secrets and disorder, and if I manage to write down a map, but a fraction of it all, that would be an enormous relief. Verily, it all centres around Belladonna, the queen of queen regent of the castle, who has turned her benevolent face towards me, and thus filled my person with happiness I had previously thought unimaginable. I still remember the first time I saw her standing next to her husband when I took up work in the household. I remember how she seemed to me to glow. The two of them lost a child shortly after that, and the tragedy would linger in the castle for a long time. All the other servants had started to leave one by one, but as much as I wanted, I found myself unable. I kept postponing my departure. With each new day, I found myself dancing around Belladonna's flame, drawn to it as strongly as I had been from that first glance. By the time she finally recovered from her melancholy, I was the one left in the castle, and it was at this time that a miracle happened. Belladonna saw me in a new way. This tempestuous affair, galloping and world-shaking, and yet so quiet, so hidden. The castle is ours to rule as we please, but only as long as we do not arouse suspicion from the grave-robbing goblin in the basement. It is as if I have stepped into one of the fairy tale stories my grandmother used to tell, but Nana's stories always ended up with someone losing their head or being eaten alive. Though seemingly everlasting, this, our bliss, a seed of doubt is growing in my heart. Belladonna is married after all, and who am I to break their wedlock? Theirs is not a happy union, true, but I am seducing my love to break her vows and soil her soul, and what wretched union will that bring upon us? For a long while, Belladonna was all I had dreamed about. My queen, goddess, and my deepest wish was for her to let me into her life and let me worship her. I thought I would give up anything for that, but now I am here. I wonder if I have sacrificed too much. Belladonna comes from high society, and she doesn't realise just how much she takes for granted. It is clear who is the lady and who is the servant. Can I keep on living like this, or will I have to do the unthinkable and leave her? I made Belladonna not to read anything I wrote, and looking at what I have just put down in ink, the weight of that promise is clear. I have forged into words thoughts I did not know I had, and it is vital that these pages remain secluded from prying eyes. Secrets upon secrets, I shall hide this letter inside the old armour in the basement, whom I call Roland the Bard, where I doubt anyone will find it. I am descending into that dungeon as soon as I am done here. I'll hide this note away, as the master has asked me to fetch him a certain plant from the greenhouse. As strange as the whole situation is, I must still obey his request, if only to keep up appearances.
Here's Francisca's coffin, but the lid is much too heavy for me to lift. Maybe I could break it open, but I'll need some sort of big hammer or mace for that.
What about a candlestick? And then
now,
the bone saw.
Carefully remove the head. It's remarkably well preserved.
It looks freaky as fuck. Right, now you should be waiting, right, sweetheart? So can I just give you stuff?
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. The creation is complete. All we need to do now is force life into these dead limbs. That big switch on the wall initiates the procedure. Will you have the honor, my dear?
Gladly.
All is
Okay,
prepared.
sec.
Go ahead and pull the switch.
Okay.
Time has come. I've wanted to pull this thing since the first time I saw it.
It's alive.
Oh, that's cool. All the different... They even brought the cat back. Oh, that's cute. All the different kinds. Like, it looks like they evolved into some kind of electrical thing. And oh, that's so cool. Okay, guys. Well, that's the end of this video. So, I'm going to leave it here. So, thank you, everyone, so much for watching Belladonna, this year's Halloween special. I've been Anthony of Nightmare Gaming. As always, have a good day and a scary Halloween. Bye-bye.